next up, we are going to delve deeper. I think that's fun. You know why I did that.
Yeah.
Delving deeper. Gotta delve them all. Delving deeper.
Now we're gonna be copyright claimed for that. Thanks.
That's parody. No, they're come to me and say, well, we didn't find it very funny, so apparently it's not.
Nintendo's very litigious.
Oh, yes. There'll be more topics on that in the future. Anyway, for another time. But on this Delving Deeper, though, you wanted to tell me a little bit about the design of Pokemon Arceus.
I wanted to talk to you about our Lord and Savior, Lord Helix.
Okay. How is
But
Helix?
not actually, that's Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Okay.
All hail Lord Helix.
Okay.
No, Pokemon Legends Arceus, which, when you were here the other day playing some D&D, I guess it was a week or two
Couple
ago.
weeks.
Anyways, when you were over here, I kind of showed you a bit about it, and, Ray and I have been playing it, and I know Datum over in Discord has been playing as well. But I want to talk about that, since it is a breakaway title from the mainline traditional Pokemon games, what is considered the mainline Pokemon games.
Okay.
And they did a different formula than usual. And I know there's been a lot of press and coverage around it. And I just want to talk about that. So,
Sure.
you are familiar with the normal Pokemon games, I assume.
Oh, I might have played a few of them, yeah. Yeah,
So,
in the past.
very atypical, you start out in your mother or father's house as a 10-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
And your goal is to go be the Pokemon champion, collect them all, beat the Elite Four. It's very much the same throughout all of those games through, through Gen 1 through Gen whatever, 8.
Yeah, you're becoming a Pokemon master.
Yeah, your goal is to become the Pokemon master. And Pokemon Legends Arceus starts off with a different premise completely. Spoiler here if you haven't played and you want to play.
Okay.
So anyone who's still listening, here's the spoiler.
Okay.
You start the game falling through a space-time rift.
Okay, I did not see that coming.
So it starts off, you're basically talking to Arceus, or Lord Sinnoh as they call him, the Pokemon god essentially. Your character is falling through a rift with their phone from like our time into the past. And you end up in ancient Sinnoh.
Oh.
Which is the region it takes place in. Or sorry, the Hisui region. It's part of Sinnoh, I think. I don't know.
Oh.
Anyways, you're found on this shore. You're just this kid in a t-shirt and shorts and like sandals in like feudal Japan era times.
Oh. Okay.
And everyone's like, okay, that's a little weird, but also there's this space-time rift in the sky, and we know it's a space-time rift for some reason. So the premise right off the bat isn't like, oh yeah, you're a kid whose parent, like, generally it's like you've got one parent, your other parent's either gone, or like one of the games is your dad's a gym leader, like the first gym leader, so you go and battle him and then go on your way. This one is, no, you're a 15-year-old, not a 10-year-old. You've fallen through space and time into ancient Pokemon times. And you've got a cell phone that Lord Arceus talks to you with, essentially going, yeah, you've got to like, go collect all of the Pokemon, essentially.
Okay. And
It's
thus
like-
you're off on your Pokemon collection quest.
So, the premise is weird. It's a little strange at first. But the way they do it is fun.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer about random battles with trainers and becoming the best. There are very few actual, like, Pokemon battles between trainers that you run into, comparatively speaking.
Okay.
The game is not based around that. Like, you'll get into a few, but most of the trainers you run into have maybe one or two Pokemon.
Sure.
Because most of the people you've run into in town are, like, terrified of Pokemon.
Oh, well, that kind of
And
tracks. Have you ever seen a
so-
Snorlax? Yeah.
Yes, I've seen an alpha Snorlax, and I'll tell you about that a bit later.
Okay, cool.
So most of the people in town are like, we don't know much about Pokemon. They're kind of terrifying, which again tracks. So you're going around and you're helping, you're collecting, catching Pokemon, but you're doing it like Pokemon Go style. Not the same type of gameplay, but you're catching a lot of Pokemon.
Right. Do you have to weaken them like before, or can you pretty much just
don't have
pop
to
them?
weaken them, but it does help. You can sneak up in the grass
Oh.
and just throw Pokeballs at them.
Oh.
And then if it doesn't catch them and they become aggressive and try to attack you, they can't attack you in the overworld.
Sure.
And if you get hit with too many attacks, you will pass out. And you drop your satchel and you lose a couple items, and then other players on the internet can find them and return them to you.
Oh, well, that's good.
Which is a cool mechanic.
That's neat.
You actually need to do that in order to buy some items with the merit points you get from that.
Oh.
That's a whole different system, however.
Mm.
But, so you can go around. If you don't want to use your Pokemon to battle, you really don't have to for a lot of it. Because you can just sneak around, throw berries, attract them to the berries, sneak up behind them, throw a Pokeball at them. You can play the game sneaking through bushes.
Yeah.
So that's different, because most Pokemon games, the whole thing is random battles and then trainer battles.
Sure. Yeah. I was also looking, I was hearing on a few different places, the interesting thing that sets it apart from the mainline games is the cat.
Excuse the cat.
Yeah. Meowth. But
That's
they...
right.
That's right. Team Rocket. There's no Team Rocket in this, is there?
No. This is way before Team Rocket.
It was way before. Oh, that's right. They went back to feudal Japan. They're still Pokeballs.
Yeah, they look different.
Oh, okay.
You make the Pokeballs yourself. There is a whole crafting mechanic where you can make the Pokeballs and most of the items that you would use as well.
Oh.
So if you don't want to buy them, for instance, you do not have to.
Oh, that's neat.
So you can just be out in the field and be like, I need Pokeballs. Go collect some supplies, craft a ton of Pokeballs.
Oh, fair enough. I also like the fact, so if they went back to feudal Japan, this is like they got through a time rift and stuff. Did they pull us Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3? Where they went back to feudal Japan? And no?
No.
Pokemon...
A little different.
Yeah, Pokemon Secrets of the Ooze.
No secrets, no ooze.
There's no ooze.
There's probably a little bit of ooze.
Yeah, well, oh god, now, is there a Grimer? If you can catch Grimer, then there's some ooze.
Probably not. I haven't found one yet. I don't know. I don't think Grimer's in this one. There's like 250 some odd Pokemon in this game.
Okay.
So again, it's not a full Pokédex of like all of the Pokemon from all the games, which is fine. It's not a mainline game introducing a new series of Pokemon.
Right.
Which most of the mainline ones do.
Even the mainline games, though, if you looked at like Sword and Shield and those that they tried to come out with, they don't actually include a full roster of the Pokemon.
I mean, Sword and Shield you have to get DLC for, so that's an outlier too. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Sun and Moon, they did all that, plus the Alolans, the variants on the original 150.
Yeah.
Which were really cool, because it was like, alright, here's a reimagining of these Pokemon from a different region. And you do have a couple of those, I believe. In this, you have a couple remakes. The Growlithe and Arcanine have a different form.
Oh.
To be more in line with that time period. Voltorb and Electrode also have a different form. They look like Pokeballs, but the kind from that era.
Okay.
You can get the Alolan Vulpix, I believe,
in
this game. Shiny Pokemon do exist. And you get one as part of like a mission. The structure is different too. Instead of being like, alright, I don't know what I'm doing kind of deal, which in general the Pokemon games is like very linear, but you had to figure out the path like based on what you had to do. You had to go around, find the next solution to what you need to progress along your path.
Sure.
It usually ends up just being the gym battles. And a couple other things here and there. And this one, you get missions, and you can take requests from the town folk to go fill your Pokedex, essentially, basically you have to see the Pokemon do certain things or catch certain types of the Pokemon, like light or heavy, and you have to fill it out a number of times to complete the entry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So people will request that you do things. Like one person at the beginning is like, "Hey, so Beautify is a cool Pokemon, and I heard that it evolves from a Wurmple. Can you go catch me a Wurmple?"
Yeah.
So you do. You go, you catch him a Wurmple, you bring it back, and then you help him name it.
Oh.
He named it Bojin.
Bojin?
Yeah, his name is Beauregard.
Oh. So he needed a friend that was also named Bo.
Yes.
But
And then, so you give him that, and then from that point forward, that Pokemon is next to him in the town. And then as you're doing stuff, more Pokemon are like showing up in town. You get a couple Bidoofs that you catch because they're like eating the fences, and you catch them and they help the construction corp, essentially.
Oh. Okay.
And then like you have the farm, and it's like, hey, I could have really used like a Pokemon that's good with like the fields and ground. So you bring him a ground type Pokemon. And then later on, when you expand the fields, they're like, hey, what about like a Pokemon with some kind of water, can use water to help with the irrigation? And it's like, all right, cool, yeah, I brought you a water Pokemon, and you expand that.
Oh, okay.
So you're like introducing them to more Pokemon. So like the storyline, I haven't even gone over like the in-game design choices for like gameplay much.
Sure.
But just some of that stuff is so different than the mainline Pokemon games, where you're seeing the effect of introducing Pokemon to like being used and teamed up with and like friends with, essentially, can change the people's perception of them and how the town functions and can grow as a whole by having Pokemon in it.
So is this kind of like a bootstrap sort of thing? Like you had to go back in time so that people would get used to the Pokemon so that in the future...
bootstrap paradox type thing, but it's interesting, it's different,
Yeah.
it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Hmm.
So design choices otherwise, the Pokemon battles are a lot more... They're about the same, honestly. You're in 3D,
From the older ones, yeah.
so you can walk around during it, and if you run off too far, you can just kind of leave the battle and call your Pokemon back. You can run almost whenever. The difference is, like, they did simplify parts of it, where you can now swap out your Pokemon's moves pretty much on the fly. As long as you're not in battle, you can go into the menu and just be like, alright, I'm going to change this move for that move, and swap them out, and then confirm.
Okay.
So you don't have to go to a
A
move
Pokemon
tutor.
Center or something like that? Or...
Well, there's move tutors. You can go and have them delete moves and then change moves and
Got it.
remember old moves. But you can only have 4 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You can still only have 4, but you can change them out
Fair.
at will.
Fair.
And not have it be a weird system to do it. That's nice. There's a mastery system for the moves,
Okay.
which has never existed before. So essentially you can do either a strong style move or an agile style move, where the strong style move adds to the power, but it makes it slower.
Oh, okay.
And it takes more power points, the PP, for the move, so you can't do it as many times, but like if you do a strong style, it becomes a lot more powerful. The agile style one makes it a little less powerful, but faster.
Right.
So you can be like, alright, well, I want to get this hidden, and then maybe get another hidden after this.
Fair. Okay.
So it's interesting, or you can just do normal. So you can do normal or those. And that's interesting because you can mix it up. You could say have a really powerful move, and then weaken it to make it go a little bit faster, which is cool.
Huh. Okay.
A downside is I've noticed that none of the moves that are traditionally area moves in Pokemon are no longer area moves.
Oh.
So
okay.
if you only have your Pokemon in battle, you're doing a one-on-one battle, but they can have 3 of them versus the one of your Pokemon. So generally when that happens, you would want to be like, alright, well, this move affects multiple Pokemon. That doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Oh. Okay.
Which is kind of a downside. You're kind of like, okay, but I wanted to use, Water Pulse because it will hit all of them, or Bubble will hit all the Pokemon on the field. Doesn't do that anymore. So
Right.
that's annoying.
Right, that actually feels like a return to old form when you really didn't have multiple Pokemon that you would fight at any time. It was always a one-on-one battle, so
Right.
they didn't really have area attacks, yeah, at that time.
So that's annoying because it's like, all right, well, there's 4 Pokemon I'm in a battle with, and I'm only using my 1, and I have to attack each of them individually.
Yeah.
So that's a little annoying. Another simplification was they got rid of the abilities from Pokemon.
Oh.
Where normally you'd have a Pokemon,
Yeah.
like if I'm an Omega Ruby, Geodude might know the ability Sturdy. So one-hit moves won't kill him, they'll just bring him down to 1 HP. But most Pokemon have 2 abilities, and then some have a 3rd hidden ability. And they can have those based on which ones you catch. So that's gone. And I feel like it would be nice to have that back in there because it would add a little bit more customization and point to like catching different ones. The other thing that's removed is breeding.
Okay.
I don't think there's any breeding mechanic in there, which is fine. Not everyone's into that. It can be a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
I did a lot of Pokemon breeding in Omega Ruby because it was fun. I was trying to do specific builds and specific movesets for them, so I figured out how to work all those around and do it. And the other thing is, I don't think there are IVs, which are the individual values, which if you're a competitive player are what you want, but if you're not competitive, it doesn't matter. These are the base stats of the Pokemon. Have a range from like 0 to 36, 36 being best and 0 being abysmal.
Right.
So they got rid of that. As far as I know, those don't exist. It's more along the lines of what they did, I guess, in Sword and Shield and Pokemon. It's not, maybe not Sword and Shield. Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, and then like Pokemon Go, where it just got like the effort values, so you can increase those and get their stats to be better, but it doesn't have both the effort and the individual values.
Okay. But now they didn't carry over like combat power and stuff like that from, did they? Or is it just the levels?
Which combat power? From like Pokemon Go?
From Go, yeah.
No, those are just your... Pokemon Go is super simplified.
Yeah.
This one still has your HP, attack, defense, special defense, and speed, which
Copy
are
that.
the IVs or the EVs.
Sure. The other things that I was hearing about it, and I'd be interested to hear you talk a little bit about it, was that so much of what they did with Arceus, and one of the reasons why people were viewing it in more of a positive light than Sword and Shield and a lot of other earlier games, is that they streamlined a lot of things. Like, you don't have to, like they don't have to tell you, hey, you picked this shrub up off the ground every single time. It just, like, makes a little note, +1 or something to
Yeah,
shrubs.
that one's nice, because you pick up ingredients and crafting materials off the ground, or you toss your Pokemon at a tree and it will knock the berries down and collect them. But it
Just
doesn't
like-
come up with a text box every time that needs to like be scrolled.
I don't have to go into a menu to do that every single time. I can just do it with a
No,
button.
it doesn't come up. It
Yeah.
comes up with a thing and it goes, however many you found, and just a little notification pop up, and then it goes away. And then if you use the Pokemon for the tree, it'll give them a little experience.
Yeah,
And
okay.
that's just pop up and goes around.
Yeah.
I will say one thing I wish lasted longer were the on-screen toasts. When your Pokemon leveled, it will go, give all the Pokemon. If you battle, all your Pokemon get experience for it, not just the one you used in battle. I think that one gets more.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But once they level, if they level, it'll go level up, and then it'll be like new move or move mastered or can evolve. It'll come up on the screen on the side there, but it doesn't last a whole long time. So if they got a new move and you weren't looking,
Sure.
you then have to go in and check the Pokemon's move screen to see if there's a new move. So that's a little annoying. But you can also choose to evolve your Pokemon when you want.
Oh, okay, that's
As
neat.
long as they hit the requirement for it, you can be like, oh, it's level 16, it can evolve now. You can just go in there and then it'll say can't evolve, and you select the button and you can evolve it right then and there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's neat. There was also something that was here. You get a mount in this pretty
You
early.
get a couple mounts in this.
Yeah.
You get it no less than 3.
Yeah. That's a little bit better than the bike.
Yeah, the bike's kind of cool, but you can ride on a big Wardeer or an Ursaluna, and you get them based on how far you are. Not gonna spoil how you get them, because it's kind of neat. But you get a deer that you can ride, and it can jump, and it can sprint really fast. Then you get a bear.
Perfect.
Big bear. You can ride a bear. It can't sprint, but it can dig up treasure and smell things.
Oh, I like smelling things. Yeah.
Then I think in the third area you get a fish that you ride on for water,
Oh, perfect.
which looks silly.
I'm sure it does. I was like, well, why wouldn't they give you a Gyarados? And then just
I
let
would
you
love.
to ride a Gyarados.
I caught a Gyarados that is up, in the air, flying around near a waterfall,
Yeah.
because Gyarados is a water flying type. It is not a dragon type.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's got these tiny little wings and it's just flying around. But once it gets so far, it's not the best optimization on it because it's on the Switch. But if it's going in a circle, and once you're here and it gets to there, the furthest point away from you, you just kind of see it going
Oh, yeah.
really
Yeah.
slowly because it's not within the right distance to see the animation fully. So it's kind of like
Oh.
janky.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so weird.
Right. That's good to know. But yeah, I was looking at the streamlining of it, and I thought that was a neat idea.
One thing I will say is really neat, and I was talking to Datum about it too, because he's been playing, as I said, is the alphas.
Yeah, there was an alpha Snorlax you met.
There's an alpha Snorlax. It's like 10'9". It is gargantuan and terrifying.
That
So
is.
alphas, it seems like there are some that are preset into locations that they respawn, and they'll always be in that one location. And then there seems to be random alphas you can find, but alphas are essentially bigger versions of the Pokemon, and they can know like a move differently than their normal kin can.
Okay.
But I think you can teach Pokemon other moves too, but the alphas will know moves that the smaller versions cannot know, I believe.
Okay.
But even after you catch an alpha, it will stay the same size.
Oh.
They have red glowing eyes when they're wild, they lose that, but they stay big. So I've got like an alpha Scyther that is huge. I have an alpha Lopunny that is like 9 feet tall.
Perfect.
Yeah, they're big. They're great.
And you can take them out in town and just show everybody.
One of the missions I had, or one of the requests, was to bring one of the guys in town a Parasect.
Sure.
And I gave him an alpha version.
Oh.
And it stays alpha.
Oh, so it's just in town. It's just
And
hanging around.
And part of the thing is, like I gave him that, and it's in his house, and he's like, "Oh, where's the Pokemon? You brought me a big mushroom." And he's like, "Wait, you're telling me that is the Pokemon?" And like Parasect pokes his head out, and he's like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
The other one that's funny is, remember Beauregard and Bojin? Well, his Wurmple evolved into a Cascoon, I think. Wurmple can evolve into either Cascoon or Silcoon, and I believe it's at random. His evolved into one that will become a Dustox, not a Beautifly, and he wanted a Beautifly. So he asks you to go and catch another, get another Silcoon to compare it to his Pokemon.
Yeah.
And so I go out and I find a Alpha Wurmple, or I find an Alpha Silcoon. I'm like, oh, yes, I'm gonna go bring this back to him because Alpha's better. Why not?
Sure.
And so I go to give it to him, and he's like, "Whoa, you caught an Alpha?" He's like, "That's really awesome. They said you were good at this, but I didn't think you're that good." And then he's like, "Can you get like a non-Alpha though? Because it's a little hard to compare mine to that."
Oh, so now you got to go back out?
I was like, I'm really happy they did that because that is really cool continuity and knowing that I did that.
That you did that. Yeah, they prepared for it.
Yeah, they prepared for it, and I
Yeah.
thought that was neat.
The other thing that I'm wondering, just from the design perspective from previous games, is if you remember the earlier, handheld versions of Pokemon,
Yeah.
the way that they're structured is that you kind of end up in a region, and then you have to do stuff in that like one town or that one area before you can move on, because they've kind of like locked that off. My understanding is that Arceus is much more open world in the way that it's structured.
But you still, in order to get to those other regions, you start in like one area and you can unlock the next and then unlock the next through the main story.
Sure. Okay.
But the requests that you could just go straight through the main story and do it.
Hmm.
You don't have like gyms to unlock stuff. You have to get your research level up by catching all the Pokemon.
Hmm.
But you can do that just by playing.
Hmm.
For that. Like, I can have Pokemon up to, like, at level 85, I think. Oh, baby. And I have no
sure.
Pokemon anywhere near that level.
Oh.
But the way you do that is you go through the main quests, and the main story quests, and you go through, and you have to, I believe, quell some noble Pokemon, which is part of the story. Again, I won't really spoil it, because I don't really have the best details to go into it without spoiling it. But essentially, it's instead of a gym battle, as you go through, you quell this noble Pokemon, and then they have a mission for you to go into the next area to do a thing, and you do a couple mainline quests, but there's not a whole lot of them between each area if you're going straight linear and just doing them. I don't think.
Right. I'm going to guess that you're probably doing the side stuff.
I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm doing everything on the side. But
Figured
you can
as
still go
much.
back to those areas. Like, you seemingly only have the one town you really hang out in. But then you have camps in each of the areas you can go to rest and do more crafting or check your Pokedex, change out your Pokemon. But then if you go back to town, you can do that too.
Got
and
it.
Interact with all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, one day when I get a Switch, I'll probably play Arceus.
Yeah, it kind of requires you have a Switch.
Yeah, it does. I'll mostly, it was that, but then also mostly Breath of the Wild and Mario, whichever that Mario one was. Odyssey. Odyssey, yeah.
I've heard the comparison to a Pokemon Breath of the Wild a few times.
Yeah, I saw the structure of it and thought that there might have been some inspiration behind it, yeah.
I think it would be really cool for mainline Pokemon games to kind of take this formula and kind of go with it, but without dumbing down some of the combat stuff that is traditional in the mainline games as well. Like, even Ray playing it, she's been playing it more than I have.
Sure.
Like, she's not really a fan of the mainline Pokemon games as much, just because they're just, God, what's the reason? She gets bored. Just fighting the random battles over and over, she gets bored.
Oh, yeah, the random battles. You can actually see the Pokemon in this one right before you go.
Yeah, you see 90% of them, except for, like, if they're in a rock formation or in a tree, but then you can knock them out of it.
Gotcha.
And I get that. There's other aspects in there, but that's the main thing that those games focus on, is the trainer battles and the random battles.
Sure.
And I think a formula like this could work really well towards getting people who don't like the traditional Pokemon for that reason to enjoy it a bit more. I think this is a more fun experience than less of a grind.
Sure.
But also I think they could add more things to this that are in those games that can make this more fun too. Like, we were talking in the car last night about this, and like, Pokemon contests are a thing in the mainline Pokemon games.
Sure.
They're also in the anime, if you want to be technical. Pokemon contests are a thing. So instead of battling HP versus HP, you go against other trainers to be like stylish.
Yeah.
So like, you can like, I think May from the Pokemon show might have been a Pokemon contestant. She would dress her Pokemon up, get in costume, and they'd do
a Pokemon stylist.
No, those exist in the mainline games. You can do that. There's a whole thing in either X and Y or Omega Ruby. I think it's X and Y, but it's like there are Pokemon, not Coliseums at this point, but there are Pokemon contest stadiums. And you go in, you get your Pokemon, they know moves that are either like cool or sweet or cute or whatever. They've got like 4 different types of moves, and every move in the game is one of those.
Sure.
It has different effects from combat than it does in the contest. So you can get a Pokemon and then you can give it like, I think Pokeblocks or whatever. There are ways to increase its stats for like being cool or strong or tough or whatever the stats. I don't remember all the stats right now, Nathan.
You don't remember all the stats off the top of your head? I'm disappointed.
I didn't really focus on the contest, honestly.
I'm disappointed.
Did a few of them, but I had a cosplay Pikachu dressed up as a rock star.
Oh.
Yeah, cosplay Pikachus were pretty rad.
Yeah.
But I think that one would be cool, especially where the game has an online functionality. Maybe not for this one, because it takes place in a weird time period that doesn't make sense.
Sure.
But for like another Pokemon game like that,
yeah,
in the modern world, to have a Pokemon contest as a portion, but you could do it versus other players.
Right.
Would be really interesting. Because then you could take it and you go, all right, I've got this Pokemon, it knows these moves, it's set up for the contest battles instead. And then you have player v player, but not to see who's got the best combat Pokemon, but who can be the most strategic in the contest like this.
Right, right.
Because the moves were used for strategy, like you want to use them at the right time to get the most appeal.
Yeah.
And then you're judged at the end and you win or you get a place.
Got
and
it.
those are a lot harder to actually optimize into and figure out than the actual Pokemon battles. Because it's a completely different system.
Sure.
So I think something like that in a game like this, added to it for the variety, would do really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other one we were talking about too was what we really need now is Pokemon Crossing.
Oh God.
Where you get the Animal Crossing formula, but with Pokemon.
No, we don't.
No, it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be fantastic.
Would it streamline Animal Crossing so that you don't have to pick up the same?
I don't think it would streamline Animal Crossing, but you would get what everyone loves about Animal Crossing mixed with Pokemon, which in the Pokemon universe, you know, they're used for all sorts of things. They are friends, they're companions for battling, you can use them as moving services.
Oh, sure.
There's a lot of things that go on that you don't actually get to take part in those.
Right. Yeah.
It'd be really neat to be like, all right, well, I've got kind of this Pokemon game where it's like the day-to-day life. But you can also like do Pokemon battles.
Here's what you need to do. You take the Animal Crossing. You implement Pokeballs. Now I can catch Tom Nook.
Yeah, go catch Tom Nook.
Catch Tom Nook.
Battle
Isabelle. And that you could just have him fight Isabelle. That would be amazing. But better yet, instantly your debt is completely waived because now you have caught Tom Nook. You owe him no bells anymore. You can
all the bells.
All the bells.
And whistles.
And the whistles. There was one big thing though before we get going here with our last topic that we need to get to. But there was one other thing about Arceus that I think is a huge departure from the mainline games.
Is it the way you're pronouncing Arceus?
Arceus, yes, that. Yeah, Arceus, you know, what are you gonna do? But that there is only the one version. It's not split up into 2 different versions.
Well, yeah, it's not one of the mainline games, which generally have different versions, and those typically are to have slightly different Pokemon.
So that you can trade, because
you can trade.
It's the trading aspect.
That is one of the other things. Trading is a thing in Pokemon Legends, but I see no point in doing it.
Right, because you can just catch it all.
A few people. Well, yeah. I've discussed this with a few people that are playing it too. A couple of my friends and Adam, who I guess yes, you are one of my friends, not you, if you want to be. But
if you want to be.
If you want to be, sorry.
You don't
since
have
you actually
to be.
listen, I have to preface that.
Yeah.
one of the things that I've mentioned or talked about the trading is that it seems kind of pointless for any reason where you can't breed and there aren't abilities and there
Sure.
aren't IVs.
Mm.
Which when I trade, when I do IV breeding, what I'll do is I'll wonder trade everything I'm not using. And
Ooh.
wonder trade is just trading with someone random on the internet.
Sure.
Like, you don't pick what you're trading for. They put up a Pokemon for trade. You put up a Pokemon for trade, and then you trade them. You get a lot of trash. I get rid of all the things that I'm breeding because I do a lot. So I'll give away like 30 Pokemon that don't have the perfect IVs instead of just releasing them from my boxes. Because they're not bad.
Sure.
They're better IVs than normal ones. But they're not what I'm doing. They're not perfect, or they're not the way I want them set up. So it's like, alright, well, I'm going to give these away and maybe get some new Pokemon. So without breeding, without abilities that you can like have multiple of, like there's no ability instead of having 2 abilities
Mm-hmm.
to choose. And with no IVs, which you can get through breeding and make it a superior, stat-wise version. There's literally no reason to trade unless you're trading for either an alpha with a specific move,
Mm-hmm.
or you want a shiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see no reason to trade otherwise, because you can catch all of the Pokemon yourself. There's not going to be
Right.
any difference between my game and your game, I don't think. They're all going to be able to learn the same moves.
Sure.
There might be a slight size difference because you can catch variants in size, but even then you can just catch it yourself.
Got it.
And the alphas trump any of the other size that's not alpha.
Yeah.
Like if I'm catching an alpha Geodude versus the biggest Geodude I can get that's not alpha, the alpha is still going to be much bigger.
Yeah.
So it's
Fair
like, there's no reason to trade.
There isn't. Okay. Yeah.
It's just the shiny or the alpha, or an alpha shiny. I don't think anyone would trade an alpha shiny, however.
Why would you want to? That's just 2 great things in one.
Yeah, I
You
want
want
an alpha shiny. I cannot wait.
Do you think though that that's a real loss when it comes to the trading mechanics? Because I was always kind of on the fence about, like, I remember back in the day, way back in my day, when I was playing Red and Blue, right? And you would have to choose whether you wanted the red or the blue, and you'd have to find a friend that had the other one, and then there's the whole trading mechanic.
Well,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be, because Red and Blue you had to trade. There were 4 Pokemon you had to trade in the original games to
Yeah.
evolve them,
Mm-hmm.
being Haunter into Gengar, Machamp, Machoke into Machamp, Kadabra into Alakazam, and then Graveler into Golem.
Golem? Oh, okay.
So those 4.
Okay.
You can get those 4 in this game,
Got it. Okay.
but you don't need to trade them to evolve them.
Right.
You get an item that you can purchase, or you can find, I think, or buy, or whatever, from a different vendor. There's either you can purchase it or find it occasionally, maybe. But it's a link cable, essentially, item, and it will let you evolve the Pokemon with it.
Mm.
And I'm like, if trading's a thing, and those Pokemon need to be traded to evolve, why not just not have the item for it and just
Right.
trade them to evolve them? Then you would encourage actual reason for having a trading system.
Which, in a system where we now don't have to do link cables, where we can actually just do by internet, via internet
Mhm.
cable, it seems like more prevalent than ever that it would make sense that people would be able to utilize that technology.
Right.
You don't have to
And
be
that's-
face-to-face.
And that's what, if they had a Wonder Trade, it would be for, that'd be fine.
Sure.
Because I could be like, I just caught 15 of his Pokemon to fill my Pokedex. I'm going to go Wonder Trade that and see what I get.
Right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You do it just to see what you get. It's like gambling.
Right.
And
Or
people love to gamble.
Or if they, yeah, well, of course they do. That's kind of the problem. But the thing is, or if they tried a system like they did with Pokemon Go, where you don't necessarily trade Pokemon, but you actually get, like, gifts or something, and the only use of it is to trade it to somebody else for it.
Yeah.
Weren't there also, though, I thought that there were some individual Pokemon in the games, not just for evolutions, but there were certain Pokemon themselves that only appeared in one of the 2 versions, so you had
Yes.
to trade them over, yeah.
And I don't think Red and Blue necessarily, maybe. I think there might have been a couple. But a couple of them are, like, maybe X or Y or whatever. One game will have, like, 3 or 4 Pokemon that will appear in that game and not the other game.
I want to say Kangaskhan was specific to one of the two.
I think maybe. I think another one was like.
Not a lot. There weren't a lot,
No,
but
there
enough
weren't
to
as many. It was
enough that to
make
keep you
need to do it.
yeah, it's to keep you from getting the Pokedex vault.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am hoping though that in Pokemon Legends though the reward for getting a complete Pokedex is better than the old games.
They've done a thing with the last several games where the reward you get for getting a complete Pokédex is a shiny charm, which increases the odds of you getting a shiny Pokemon by a fair amount.
Oh, good. Well, that's better than the little plaque that says congratulations.
You still get a little plaque, but you get a shiny charm, and
you get something for it.
Up.
Yeah.
Datum and I were actually talking about that a little bit ago.
Sure.
Let me see. The standard shiny rate in Pokemon Legends Arceus is 1 in 40 96. No, so 1 in every 4096 Pokemon is a shiny. It's not a very high chance.
No.
If your Pokemon you're hunting has completed the Pokédex entry to level 10, then the chance increases by double.
Okay.
To 1 in 2048.5.
Right. With the charm.
If you have a perfect Pokédex entry for the Pokemon, which is everything maxed out, it doubles again to 1 in 1024.38.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a shiny charm, the chance to find a shiny goes up. So you need a level 10 Pokédex entry for each Pokemon in the Pokédex to get a shiny charm. And this makes the standard rate to find a shiny 1 in 819.
Got it.
Down from 1 in 4086. So it substantially increases it.
Right.
So with a perfect Pokédex entry and the shiny charm, the standard rate is 1 in 585 Pokemon.
Oh, good. Okay.
If there's a mass outbreak, which is a thing where that happens occasionally, the outbreak shiny chances increase from a normal because there's a lot more of them, and the chance is 1 in 128.
Oh, okay. Then I might actually catch one.
Yes. Ray caught one. She has a shiny Krogunk.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might trade her for that.
Yeah, you might want that.
Because she doesn't want to use it, and I might actually use it.
Oh god. Yeah. So your odds of getting an alpha shiny are going to be incredibly
I want to get the shiny charm, and I want to get those level. I was telling her that because she wants a shiny like Jolteon.
Sure.
I was like, well, what you need to do is complete the level 10 entry for Eevee, and then every goal inside that.
Sure.
Because once you hit level 10, you're not done with the entry, but you no longer have to research it if you don't want to. There's still other stuff inside it, though.
Got it. Okay.
That you can fill out. So if you get all that, then you can get a better chance of shiny, and then the shiny Eevee you can get any evolution you want.
Oh, excellent. So, to kind of wrap it up, because we've been talking about this for a while, a long time.
Probably too long.
Probably too long. Always too long. Would you say that the changes that they made to the general design framework for Pokemon Legends were an overall improvement over the standard design that we saw from the earlier games?
I think it's a more accessible design.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think it's an improvement because I enjoy. Again, I have over 400 something hours in a mega.
Yeah.
And because I enjoyed figuring out how to breed for moves and IVs and natures and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
To get specific Pokemon built in a specific way to do a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that in this. But I think it takes away a lot of the really more hidden systems that are mechanically not intuitive. And again, while talking to Datum, he was saying this game's more accessible for me because in the other games I feel like I want to complete everything.
Sure.
Whereas if breeding's a mechanic, he kind of was saying that if that's a mechanic in it, I want to figure it out and master it kind of deal.
Sure.
I'm paraphrasing. I'm not looking at this conversation. Sorry, Adam.
It's alright.
But, you know, and I get that. So even Ray was saying that there's a bunch of stuff going on that, you know, she doesn't understand in the mainline Pokemon games that are no longer in this game. So it's way more accessible
Sure.
to a more casual type of gaming
Yeah.
and a more completionist type of gaming, because there's less of those strange subsystems in there
Sure.
that people can get overwhelmed or confused with.
Right. Right.
So I think it's a great breakaway. I hope they do more with it, because it's really fun.
Sure.
And it's really cool to have the open world Pokemon where you can catch them and not focus on battling.
Certainly.
I'd like to see iterations on it. I'd like to see them do other things in that vein that aren't just Sword and Shield, because that was not apparently very well received.
No.
But this one is really fun. I do
Yeah.
want to play Sword and Shield. I have not yet, but I do want to.
Yeah. Yeah, the comments that I mostly heard is that Arceus is a game that actually respects your damn time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can sit down and just play for a little bit and feel like you've done a lot.
Yeah, excellent. Well, that's good. That's good. And one day maybe I'll just learn how to say the Arceus.
Arceus.
Arceus. Yeah, I like Arceus.
Pokemon Legends Archie.
Archie. Yeah, it's gonna be the dark reboot that they do of Pokemon. It's gonna be like Riverdale,